So, okay. To start with, we just want to talk a little bit about the precession. In this chart form, it's a little bit cluttered, but I'll just have to... Let's see. Okay. Can't see it. Okay. So, inside you have the signs of the zodiac, inside wheel, tropical zodiac. There's an outer degree grid. These are the degree grid marks the 12 sidereal signs, the 12 sidereal divisions, numerical divisions, and the actual constellations are put outside of that. So the constellations are very different sizes. Pisces is about 48 degrees. Virgo is about 48 degrees. They're huge. Libra is 11 degrees. Cancer is 10, 11 degrees. They're tiny. They're very different sizes, and there's spaces in between constellations. So even in the process of what's the age of Aquarius, when did it begin, when did it end, it's based on various... It's supposed to be on astrology, but it's based on a lot of number systems. Of course, numbers, you take numbers to Kabbalah, you have the 10 Sephiroth, you have the 10 Commandments, you have numbers, and numbers are, even to Pythagoras, numbers are like gods. Okay, so numbers create a great abstraction that you can go into the mystery of everything and symbolically go there for the symbol-minded. But that's very different than experiential. Jesus, cold out, you got a coat. Like, it's a different thing experientially. So why not go to, like, for the convention of remembering where stars work, because the precession, the stars move through the degrees of the zodiac, they're never in the same place. They're always shifting along slowly. That's hard to remember. Over 50 years, in my lifetime, they moved almost a degree. So it's shifted. Regulus, the heart of the lion, was in Leo for the last 2,000 years. It's just this last year shifted into Virgo, into tropical Virgo. Just happened. So the heart of the lion now has some analysis to do. There's going to be a little more. It's just a shift. So the lights are like laser beams coming in, other suns, other energies coming down into the world. 1/10 of the light that hits the planet is from the stars. All together, all the stars. 90% from the sun. Even the reflected moonlight reflected off the planets is still sunlight coming in. So most of the stuff we see just in our basic sun, seasons, day, night, summer, winter, spring, fall, phases of the moon, we get our main experiential foundations. When you get the stars, it's 1/10. And each individual star is much less than that. So it can represent an extra light that comes in, other teachings, other messages comes in, but it's on a much higher frequency than our normal life. Same thing with 2012, and the galactic center is lining up with the equinox, and this is so incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. It doesn't happen for, once in 25,000 years. But who's in touch with it? Who's living at that 25,000 year cycle? Who's conscious to it? It's happening on a higher frequency. Maybe a few people got inspired and opened their consciousness and had a vision about how things are going to be for the next couple thousand years. Most of us are just going around getting laid, watching music, having a party. Oh yes, maybe we should go to Hawaii for 2012. It's who lives there? Who's listening? So there's different frequencies. Most of us have our AM sets turned on, or now we got FM, or now we got our own media, but we don't get the shortwave anymore. Who's ever heard of shortwave? Hardly now. Much less higher frequencies, much less angels or other things, like different frequencies of light, sound. Where are we tuned into? Oh my goodness. Someone had to follow your sound trail, never mind carbon trail, your sound trail across a week. Could they survive? It's your sound trail. I love it. But maybe everybody else has their own sound trails. So this just shows the spring, age of Aquarius. Psychics, everyone says, we're already in it, it's already happened. It's not. It's just people selling stuff. There's a phenomena, an actual measurement of what the precession of the ages is. There's questions around it. Even with the sidereal system of these 30-degree divisions on the outside, there's 10 different sidereal systems that start at different points that measure and remember the stars in different ways. So the stars are fixed in it, but there's 10 different systems. Which one's real? It's a big problem in India. They had a national conference 30 years ago and decided they used the Lahiri system to try and pull it all together, just because it was the most contemporary. I mean, astrology is normally part of life in the East, where most people live. Like we're in the fringe. But this takes the spring equinox, and as it moves backwards against the stars, so if you're looking backwards, you got against the sidereal zodiac. They're equal 30-degree divisions. Every age is 2,100 years. We have exactly this number of ages, this number of times. So history has to fit to these numbers, these time frames. Exactly. Well, mathematics is a funny thing. Like in music, you have perfect circles. But in nature, there's no perfect circles. There's ellipses. It's all distorted. Of course, that distortion to a mathematician or to a divinely inspired mathematical person, that's gross physical life. That's heresy. If you aren't a perfect circle, you got to be a woman. You got to be sinful. You can't be God. You can't get there. Okay, so a little deviation, a little orbital mutation, and we got nature. Okay, I mean. Otherwise, we have the divine 10 commandments. I'm not trying to be any. I'm just saying there's a difference between astrology as nature, as life, as experience, than as an abstract theory. Of course, as an abstraction, many different contemplations come in. But if you're abstracted, you're not going to be telling them what the king's going to do or what so and so is going to do. So it's safer for people to propagate the abstract astrology than the real astrology, than experiential astrology. So. Even Chinese, it went to a mathematical system. It wasn't originally. So, this is the spring equinox here. And this was when it touched the first star in Pisces. 105 BC, first star in Pisces. To me, that's the beginning of the Piscean age. Okay? Now, if we take it to the next one, let's move forward to the beginning of sidereal Pisces. Okay? 228 AD. So you have to many people, the age of Pisces started 228. Well, that's the difference of before Christ or after Christ. Yeah?
I'm going to ask the bad question. Which stars are you counting, for example, as the first star of Pisces? Because we're able to see a whole lot more stars within that.
Yeah, if you take the modern view, you can block off a whole square and any star in it is there.
So you're using the traditional stars? The
traditional base of stars, but even when you get to this point, it's pretty well that point. Most of the stars are on that side of it. Okay. Yeah, you can question that, but still, this overlap, Pisces is bigger than 30 degrees. But it's really interesting. 228, just shortly after that, the Bible was written as hearsay 250 years after someone died with no news and no way of proving what was said. And certain books, certain teachings were put together as the Bible. Some liberties may have been taken. Okay, so, but it's interesting, the sidereal zodiac starts at 228, but it would mean Pisces was, like birth of Christ was part of the old age. It's the end of the old era, not the beginning of the new. Yet Christ wore his fish symbol. He had the symbol of the new age, of the Piscean age coming in. He was the new vision of things. So this whole Piscean age I like to separate, just take the myth of the constellation really in, but even if you just take the signs, Piscean age ruled by Jupiter, Jupiterian understanding. We've had 2,000 years of all religious understanding, all the teaching, everything's done by understanding, by principles, by morals. You should be this, you should be that, you shouldn't be that. Oh, don't trust this, don't trust that. Here we are. And it's still going on. It's a Jupiter-ruled time. So, so like this question, where does it begin? Interesting question. Okay, so then, when does it end? The end of the sidereal, when the spring equinox touches the end of sidereal Pisces, it's at 2376. So to siderealists, that's the beginning of the age of Aquarius. 2376. That's a ways away. Okay? But through Pisces, by the end of Pisces, the beginning of Pisces, no one would ever imagine drinking bottled water or paying for water. Of course, we can begin to imagine maybe paying for air, owning cubic amounts of air or air farms. for different qualities of life. Who knows? So just this point at the end, 23, but still there's a whole bunch of Piscean stars yet. It's not till 2703 that the spring equinox touches the first star in Aquarius. 2703, first star in Aquarius. It's still not the end of the Piscean era yet. There's still another degree and one more star left to go. So they overlap a little bit. But 2706 is when the spring equinox touches the first star in Aquarius. To me, that's the beginning of the age of Aquarius, which will be a Saturn-ruled era of military control, government control, almost no freedoms, because there'll be pollution, everything will have to be controlled, everyone will be part of the team. There's no room for individual Leonian excellence.
It's assuming we survive that long.
Yeah, but I mean, clones may, whatever will survive. Regardless, we're pumped up to be thinking we know all these things. It's enough to get through a day. But 24 hours is a long time. You just sit there, try and do a media fast. No radio, no TV, no newspaper, no printed media. Just enjoy your day. Oh my goodness. Then try and talk about it. It's a different... So here's when it touches the last star in Pisces, is 2816. It's a long time away. Are we in a scientific era? Are we in this era of belief systems? Is science a belief system? Is there pollution? Is things all confused? Is it more Piscean or more Aquarian? Whoa. Okay, anyway, those are bigger questions. I didn't want to stay here. I just want to show you a relation. There's a relationship between tropical zodiac to sidereal to constellations. But the sidereal is really a mathematical convenience of 30-degree divisions. So there's 12 divisions of 30 degrees, and the stars are in fixed degrees, so you can always remember where they are. It doesn't have the rights to say, because it's these 30 degrees, everything about Aquarius is in these 30 degrees, or everything about Pisces in these 30 degrees. It doesn't happen like that. In nature, where the lights are, and where the stars and where the energies are coming from, if there's a grouping, it's coming from the constellations. So in a time where there weren't computers and there weren't a lot of access to information, this was a good association.
Can you say a bit more about how you see how tropical Pisces, for example, relates to...
We're going to get all this. We're going to go through all this. This was just a starting point. We're seeing relevance, physical relevance of the different systems to each other, different layers. In the tropical zodiac, we have the seasons. The sun's overhead at the Tropic of Cancer. The sun enters Cancer. The sun's overhead at the equator. It's the spring or fall equinox. The sun's overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun goes into Capricorn, at least for the northern hemisphere, where most people are. And certainly most of the Commonwealth was. Okay. So